Hey everybody, it's Margaret Edwards, HBBO, your home-based business owner friend on Facebook for my third video today. As I said, I'm getting caught up on my 14-day challenge, and today was actually supposed to be my 5th day, but I had to backtrack to day 3 and finish day 4, and so now I've just now finished day 5. So it's been kind of a busy day and a fun day. Because I wasn't sure what I was going to do with according to the action step that we had to do today. You know, the infamous Ray Higdon gives us the rundown, the lowdown on how to really how to use attraction marketing and work on personal development, as well as not only personal development but mindset and stuff like that. Hey, Richard and Robert Bennett and Sandy's here too. Awesome. Thank you, fellas and gals and ladies. Appreciate you being here. So anyway, back on track. The infamous Ray Higdon is challenging us every day to not only do the Facebook Lives on topics we do know, but he suggested today that we do a Facebook Live on something we don't know about. Well, I racked my brain. I even called my husband and I said, what don't I know anything about? Hi, Julie. Glad you're chiming in. Because I know more about cars than my husband does, but he knows how to fix the newer ones better than I do, because I used to race Corvettes. And I know a lot about just about everything, from crocheting to oil painting to painting walls to gardening, just about everything. I think I'm a little know-it-all. Isn't that silly? But anyway, there is something that I've been thinking about doing, because on this particular table that I'm actually in my dining room, and this table that I'm on is my husband's grandmother's, and it's beautiful old walnut and all that stuff, as it's a little wobbly as you can see, but I didn't want to touch the walnut. I thought, but I'm not into antiques. I'm not one to go antique shopping or any of that stuff. But anyway, I thought it was funny because I did realize that something I might like to do is chalk paint it. Who else has chalk painted anything? Raise your hand if you had. I'd be interested in finding out a little bit about it. But anyway, so you know, one of your best tools to find out how to do something is on YouTube. Who knew? I mean, everybody knows YouTube, but it's like, okay, how do I do this? You can Google it, you can YouTube it, and what's nice about YouTube is they actually show you how to. Because recently my dryer gave up the ghost, and it was a little $3 part that just needed to be replaced. Having to take the whole thing apart wasn't easy. So I was in the garage with my husband with my computer showing him the YouTube on how to do it. I thought that was funny. But anyway, on chalk painting, I'm thinking I might just try this. I'm not into the distressed look, but I think I might try this, because I looked up the average cost of a can of already made, prepared chalk paint, and it's anywhere from $18 to $35. And this thing that you could do is probably less than 10. It was surprising. I was really having fun with looking it up. Anyway, so one of the guys that said, if you want to make your own chalk paint, get a cheap acrylic base paint. Well, we all know we can go to the hardware store, pardon me, or any other store that, you know, they're having a sale. Sunday was the last day that Orchard was open here, and they had cans of paint for like 10 cents. I didn't need any because I didn't think about doing this chalk painting project. Anyway, and he said to get a flat, excuse me, I have to get a glass of water. Something stuck in my throat. It might be some of the chalk that's going to be around here. But anyway, he says get a cheap acrylic base paint, flat paint. Plaster of Paris is what he suggested to use. And plaster of Paris, I know, is a cool product to use, but I do know it's got a shelf life, and if it gets damp, it can harden just like plaster on your walls. Hi, Judy. Good to see you. How are you? Excuse me for my frog in my throat. Don't have that. He says, and then you add a little bit of water just to make it kind of pasty, and then you mix it in whatever color you want of your paint. And he suggested put it in a wide mouth jar, like a jam jar or something like that, so you can reseal any unused paint. And you mix 1 part of plaster of Paris to 3 parts of paint with a little bit of water. And then you make sure it's really, really mixed up well. Well, I learned later on that the plaster of Paris can get a little lumpy if you're not real good. So one of the other gals that was telling us about it was get a cheap immersion blender, not the expensive Oster one like I have, but a cheap one, and just immerse it, or use one of those little whiskers. I mean, whisking is good too. If you're a cook, you know what those are. Anyway, so why do you want to do chalk paint? Because if you're using the regular latex paint on something, you have to prepare it. You have to make sure your surface is cleaned. You're going to have to not probably even sand it down to get any old stain or whatever off of it. And then you have to put a primer on it, wait for that to dry. Pardon me, I'm not sorry. Can't get this thingy out of my throat. But anyway, you put the primer on it, then you have to wait for that to dry, then you have to sand that off, and then you have to wipe that down with a damp cloth as well. So this might be educational for anybody who wants to do a chalk painting project, right? And then, let's see, you can paint, but that's going to take maybe a whole day of prep work. But with chalk paint, all you got to do is wipe down your surface with a damp cloth and wait for it to dry, and then go for it. And so you might need 2 or 3 coats for your chalk painting. And like I said before, regular latex paint might peel if you don't prepare your surface well. I bet that's what they said. I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. So we'll try it. Anyway, and then if you want to de-stress your surface, take a sand block with sandpaper on it, and just stress it out where you want to. Some people use little chains and stuff like that. I've seen that done too. But so to finish, all you need is like an easy wipe on, wipe off poly something or other in a matte finish. You can use a regular lacquer, but lacquer is very smelly and you have to use it outside. Well, during the wintertime wouldn't be a good idea. It'd be freezing. And some of the other things might yellow after a little while, I learned. But then I came across another gal who had a recipe very similar, but she said to use calcium carbonate. It has a long shelf life, and you can get a big bag of it online, probably Amazon.com, and then you use all your other ingredients, especially if you're going to get whoever's having a paint sale for 10 cents, 50 cents, whatever. And she says you can make 8 ounces of this for under $5 instead of the 35 or the 18 to 35. So if you're economically conscientious. And she doesn't use the like jam jars or whatever with the wide mouth on it. She goes to the dollar store and gets little plastic tubs with lids on them. That's a lot easier too, I think. And then this other gal suggested baking soda, which I know is very inexpensive and it lasts forever, and it's easy to not have lumps and clumps in it, right? So and that recipe is a half a cup of baking soda, a cup of the latex paint, and 3 tablespoons of cold water mixed up really well. And then you take a wide paintbrush and start painting. A couple of coats and a clear coat on top, and you're all done. Well, why did I tell you all about that? Because I wanted to know it. And I had an action step today that I had to talk about something I knew nothing about. And so this was something I knew about. Because Ray Higdon suggested, you know, if you've never played chess, well, I have, but I don't know how to. If you've never fished, well, I haven't in a long time. I wouldn't mind trying fly fishing, but it's still fishing. I've done it. And so it was kind of a challenge to find something that I haven't done or didn't know something about. Anyway, I hope you found this amusing, if nothing else. I know I found it amusing. And like I said, this is a 14-day challenge thing that I'm doing. And if you're interested in getting my notes, even my notes on chalk painting, if you like, I'll add those to that. But I'd like to share my tips and tricks and things that I'm learning from the infamous Ray Higdon on my 14-day challenge. And now that I'm all caught up with my day 5, I can start fresh tomorrow because I have a couple of videos I want to do on totally something else. So if you are interested in getting those notes, just reach out to me, private message me, and tell me, hey, Margaret, I want your notes on the 14-day challenge. And I said, look at the camera rather than at me, huh? Anyway, hope you found this fun, amusing, maybe a little valuable. And that's why you don't have to be an authority or an expert on anything to be able to share it, right? You don't need to find your perfect target audience. You don't have to be an authority on anything. You can literally share tips and content from other sources, which is what we all did today in our challenge group. And I sure did, looking on YouTube how to make chalk paint. Hope you have some fun with that. And again, if you'd like my notes at the end of the 14-day thing, actually, I'll probably start doing a few tomorrow or Thursday, and I'll get the first few days out and give them out to you. And so there. Hope you're having a good time. Thank you for chiming in, Richard, Robert, Julie, Judy, and Sandy. Thank you so very much. And anybody else who came on board that I don't see, it was kind of fun to do. Talk to you later. Bye-bye for now.